Hello, good evening everybody, welcome along to the JACKOCAR Cup Series here for Season 5, Round 12. It is the Italian Grand Prix, it's the second round of the playoffs. We're going to lose our first drivers. I'm your commentator Owen White, with me is Jacko, and this, hopefully, will be another classic.
Absolutely, good evening everyone, and you say losing our first drivers of the season. One of those at risk, Owen, is Kyle Smith. Let me do some quick maths. 14 had 6. I think it's about 20 playoff races. 21 playoff races, actually. Kyle has always advanced. And he is at risk tonight. He's not even racing, but he sits +1 above the cut line. And that is the big story coming into this evening.
And once you drop out at this stage, that is your season completely over. So this is probably him sitting quite tense here, because he's a driver that could have had 2 titles by now, but his chance to get a first may still pass him by tonight. So we'll obviously be keeping our eye on that, and we will absolutely see if it ends up going through or not. We'll be waiting for our first few cars to come out. They are quali banned drivers though. They are going to be basically going out for a night lap and then coming back in again. So we'll have a few laps of nothing much happening.
Yeah, it reminds me just to let them 2 drivers know that they can do an installation lap.
Yes. And
one of the jokers.
Yes, one of the interesting things we have tonight are the jokers, isn't it? Because we've got 3 of them, 2 of which are from the championship, or the Kyle potential knocking out of the championship drivers, because we've got SD Mats and Gareth Hall, who are all already going to be looking at displacing him. And I think this is a track we've seen 2 at least Joker victories here. I think this might actually, I'm sure you've got the stats on it, but 2 Joker victories around here, a 50% success rate, probably not a bad shout to have one here.
I do actually have the stats available, believe it or not. We have Italy Season 2, Michael OKK, and last season as well, Jamie Griffiths. So
yeah,
we know that race for being the 0.033 race, the smallest margin of victory ever. But you forget he was on a Joker as well. So 2 out of the 4 Cup races have been Joker wins. So that bodes well for the likes of Connor, Gareth, and Christian Hataro, SD Mats. And also, I do have the stats. This race has only ever been won by different drivers. That we have no repeat winners. I did post it earlier. It's Pete, Jamie, OKK, and Arnaud. But when it comes to qualifying, Khalifa has 1 pole, and Arnaud has 3, looking to make that 4 tonight as he makes his second start of the season.
So you'll notice that Connor then is the first on track. That would mean that the number 24 has missed his slot, unfortunately. I guess he's taken the quali ban very literally.
Yep. So it doesn't matter too much, does it? I mean, the setup should save. The installation lap is just a precaution. Everyone does it.
So
apart from the 24 car.
Well, yes. So, we watch then this, the only time we'll see him in the qualifying session, and it'll be interesting to see an Italian Grand Prix on this league that isn't a throwback race. It almost feels a bit wrong. Of course, we did our throwback in Imola this season instead. And, yes. Obviously, as well, we also have the sunset weather, which might make things a little bit more difficult. Obviously, we've been playing around with the weather a little bit this season for time of day. And this is one of the sort of more notable ones, I think. You can really notice it here.
Yeah, I think it's the first time I've actually used sunset. I might have had it at one other track, but it really... The shadows play a major role here, don't they? They can affect your braking points. They can distract the drivers, as we see Connor come into the pits here. But it looks lovely, Monza with this evening setting on.
Yeah, absolutely. And it'll make Arnaud's livery look nice as well as he comes on through. Using the same livery concept that Iceman is, of course, using his home colours of Belgium. And we'll see if he can stick this on pole on mediums. That would be quite extraordinary, but absolutely possible, knowing his skills. And he is, yeah, here for the second time this season after giving up on the league last year. So I do wonder if this will become a full-time drive next season on the new game, of course.
And he did enjoy his little run out in Belgium earlier in the season. Arnaud, though, his big thing that he's looking to do before he begins his lap here is to just finish 10th or higher. 7 points puts him into the 800 club.
Extraordinary stuff, that, especially as well considering, of course, he's not a champion either, and he'll be looking to rectify that. I'm sure he'll be here next season to try and rectify it. Oh, but that's not good for the first chicane, and that's going to have him right at the back probably, actually, because they're losing so much time. You know, coupled with the fact that he's already on a slower tyre, that is just going to be hemorrhaging time as he heads through the first sector. It'll only be a 27.5. Definitely expect to see people going a bit faster than that, and that's the problem with these curbs on this track. It's probably the worst on the game for just flat out bouncing you up in the air when you touch them. It's a very odd way of doing it. On the previous games you were able to touch them a lot more than this, but it's those chicanes, you just cannot get away with it. And that will cause problems not only in qualifying but in the race as well. A side-by-side fight could be, honestly, ended with a car on top of another one, Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen style, because that's the way the curbs are with this. As Arnaud continues on, doesn't even think about touching the inside curb on the exit of Ascari. We know how that ends when you touch that curb, and he's been very smart to avoid it. I'm sure somebody is going to find themselves in the wall there at some point today. As Arnaud nearly
as well, wasn't he?
Yeah, it was nice and committed. It was almost too committed though for Parabolica. Nearly Leclerc'd it into the wall, but he's gone P1 with a 22.3. Like I say, I'm sure we'll see that beaten throughout the session. Leroy is the first to give it a go as he comes through, and he's on the softs as well, so as long as he didn't have any issues in the first sector, it should be a good second or two, frankly. Clearly he hooks it all up together. And let's see what his approach is for Ascari. Yeah, they're all being well behaved through there. It's when you're really going for it at the end of the session, it might be where you trip up. But here he comes anyway, through the last two corners and all the way through Parabolica. It's not actually called Parabolica anymore, is it? But let's be honest, no one actually knows what it's called now. I think we all just default to Parabolica. As he comes up across the line, and yeah, it's a second clear into the 1 minute 20s.
As we look now, that's Leroy's third start of the season, by the way. But we move to the man who is making his 12th start of the season. 12, of course, it's round 12. But this is his first start as a full-time driver, Owen. The man who won 2 weeks ago, but was a reserve, so it doesn't count. He can't carry his playoff points across. But he begins tonight his chase campaign, starting on 500 points, so that's behind everybody else. And he's full-time for the run-in. It's Yuri.
I think he deserves, frankly, a spot on the Championship 5. He's been so committed to this reserve driver role, even picking up, as you say, a victory. Unfortunately, it hasn't landed him in the playoffs, but maybe that'll be a blessing rather than a curse. We'll see. As he comes up to the line, will he beat his brother? Yes, he will. Not by much, just under a tenth of a second. Those two have been racing together in the Cup Series for quite a while now, actually. Leroy getting himself bedded in the last few weeks. And they're 1-2 at the moment. I'd have only 3 times, but still, I'm sure they'll be screenshotted. There'll be high fives and all sorts going on.
Absolutely. And now we've got a little bit of a gap because OKK is late joining the session, so we will move to Cadman, Jake O'Sullivan.
Is it not? Is it Jake?
No, it is Jake.
Risky?
It is Jake, yeah.
I must have a different order. Oops. I shall get the correct order.
It's the one with the Italian flag as the background. But yeah, Jake comes into this as the people's favourite to win the chase, with competition from Pete and Jamie Griffiths, who won here last season. But if he can manage to gather his season together and go to the Championship 5, that would be the dream, wouldn't it? What a comeback as well. But of course, increased competition now with the likes of Yuri being added to this chase roster.
Yeah, it's certainly not as easy as it looks, is it? But as he comes up across the line, he wants to make an impact, and he does by going P1.
Oh.
And I've got to say,
4 thousandths. That is brilliant.
Nice to see the gap so close, and nice to see a purple, green and black livery. That is not a very common colour combination, but certainly a welcome one.
Ooh.
Now, round the last corner, you're making
Invalidated.
noises. That must mean
Yeah,
it's gone
risky.
wrong.
Yeah. Invalidation for Risky.
Would have
Sullivan
gone
Lewis.
fourth fastest, but, well, as you say, he's invalidated. That's a shame. Now, MK
Indeed.
Bourne. He's,
I think he's had a spin, hasn't he?
yeah, he's definitely
Or
had
did he-
something go wrong at turn 1. He must have hit the curb because, as you can see, he's over 30 seconds into his lap. But even with the mistake that Arnold had had at turn 1, he was nowhere near that slow. And so, another victim to the curb by the looks of it.
I just wonder if he'd invalidated his lap before. And then had a spin on the cooldown. I'm not too sure.
Oz won that, but it's ruining his qualifying, unfortunately.
Yeah. He's definitely in the right place because Pete's just started his lap.
Yeah.
So yeah, well, let's stick with MK Bourne and see what he can do. It won't be very good.
I'll be last.
It will be P5. Yeah. We may as well switch to Pete actually saying
Yeah.
that.
He'll be last by some distance, I think, as Pete heads through. He's been slacking off recently, hasn't he? Missing races. Unacceptable, really, from the Season 1 champion. But he's into a chase campaign. Something which he's not used to in this league. But something which he is trying to thrive from. He's currently 16th, 9 points away from Jamie Griffiths. But, look, we all know his quality and his speed. I'm sure it'll happen for him eventually, but it's whether it starts tonight or if it starts too late, really. I'm sure he'll have the results, but he won't want to lose out in a chase campaign. He won't live that one down.
No. You can afford to miss one race, but it's got to be hard work all the way through to the end of the season now as he exits Parabolica, does Pete Knighton, and gets right back over to the right-hand side of the track and across the line. It's a new pole time provisionally at 1:20.5 as we move on to last season's race winner.
Look at that, he's brought back his colours that he ran.
This was the car that won it, yeah.
He's he's even got the helmet as well, look, so he's gone fully retro for the throwback livery that was used last season. But that's not what he wanted. He's gone and invalidated the lap. Might as well keep with it. Let's see if it was going to go fastest. I'm sure he will have been on somewhat of a decent lap, and that's exactly what Pete's looking for. The guy at the top of the chase standings, starting at best 17th. It wouldn't have been a quick lap anyway. In fact, it would have ended up, he would have ended up 5th, or 6th, sorry. So, it wouldn't have been good regardless, actually. He's got a lot of work to do in the race. Now, where's Corey?
You'll like this, well, you won't like this, but Corey running a Lewis Hamilton 2022 inspired helmet livery, I would say.
It's hideous, isn't it?
But this is the first. No, I quite like it. It's the first of the playoff drivers. It's Corey.
Yeah, let's see if he's got any pace, unlike Lewis Hamilton this season, as he comes through. Ascari. Yeah. Yes. I won't disagree, but Russell is battering him. As he comes up to the final corner now, in the number 69 machine. And let's see. We know how quick he thinks he is, but let's see if he can prove it on track. No. He's gone 5th. Oh well. There'll be a recovery to be made in the race for him as well. Now, Joker driver. This is exciting times for SD Mats. We've rated him very highly all season long, and this could be the chance to advance into the next stage of the playoffs with a victory or at least a decent result. If he ends up on the podium tonight, I think that'll be fantastic, you know. Just give him something from this Joker and he will be over the moon as he comes into the final corner.
A win for Christian would straight up eliminate Kyle and Jordan from this race, unless Jordan can overcome Gareth. We got those laps to come, but SD Mats to the line. It's P1. Cool, there's your benchmark. What can you do, Gareth?
Oh, he's invalid. Oh, he's going to do what Jamie just did and what he has copied. You can see the wheel actually still there from Jamie's car. You will have noticed it on SD Mats' lap. And, that's a Joker that's not going too well. But luckily, he only has to worry about the one stop in the race, and so he can recover this. But not the ideal start. I think Jordan won't have minded to watch that, with where he is in the championship. He's currently in 9th place, and if It's a good race in there for SD Matt. He'll be needing to make sure that Gareth has a bad one so that he can still have a chance of getting into the cut. So as we stand, you could realistically see Gareth and Kyle dropping out tonight. But this needs Jordan to have a good lap.
And Jordan coming into this with a new controller as well. He says it's made all the difference. He's back to his old self. And if you may remember, Owen, his old self got him once upon a time, got him a pole position at Spa. And he is one of the all-time point scoring record holders, isn't he?
Yeah.
So very fast driver, and on his day, one of the best yet to get a win in JACKOCAR. But is it tonight? Jordan Lane up to the line with his new controller. It's P7.
Now, here comes Jamie Wright. He is on his medium tyres. Not the only one. Noticing that Kieran is out on them too. But let's see how Jimmy gets along. He was very aggressive on the curbs there. Always let's say, a nervy moment when you touch those, because it genuinely can just send you into the stratosphere and there would be nothing that you could do about it. As he comes through the two Lesmos and has a big slide on the exit. This is not the ideal lap, and I think SD Match right now, seeing Jamie and Kieran on these medium tyres, he'll be sitting there thinking there's a good chance he'll be on the second row most likely at the very worst, and I think he'll be sitting out very pleased, but we'll see. It could get better for him as we see Jamie coming up through the last few corners, because I don't think this is going to be a very fast time unless the aggressive approach has worked, but it looks like there was just too many little errors. And look how wide he is in the final corner as well, just can't get his foot down as he comes to the line. It is only 8th place, but then again on mediums that might be enough for the top 10, but we'll wait and see. Let's see how Casper is getting on through the middle sector. He's kept it all valid. He's on softs, so he'd be realistically expecting this to hit P1. And it all looks good so far, I agree, for Ascari. That was very nice indeed. But as he comes into the Parabolica, can he get himself into P1? I don't think he'll accept anything less than that. And here he comes then. Cuts to the inside line, and this will be P1 surely. Yes, it is, by 0.2 of a second.
He cut across earlier than what all the other drivers are doing. It might have gained him an extra couple hundredths, but it has made the difference, and he goes P1. SD Matt's down to second, still on for his best qualifying ever. Currently P5, or 5th, it was his best ever. Here's Kieran on his medium zone, doing a better job of it than Jamie, I would say.
Yeah, looks a lot smoother, but we haven't seen as much of the lap, of course, so we may have had issues elsewhere. The best proof we'll have will be when the lap time pops up. And if he's in P8 or better, then he will get to start on these tyres in the race. And he goes 10th only, so Jamie stays in front of him. Will these two stay in the top 10? With Red Matt and Iceman out there, that doesn't seem likely, but you never know what can go wrong in their laps. Here's Red Matt through the middle sector. He's about a second faster than Kieran. That would put him on the pace with Casper then as he comes through. Didn't look as good, did it, for Ascari? Seemed a little bit nervous, the car through there, but he has kept it facing in the right direction, so it should still be a competitive time. Whether though it will beat Casper remains to be seen as he comes through. And keep your eye on the timing. He cuts to the inside again, as we've seen other drivers doing tonight.
Yep. He went early. Red Matt goes P1.
That was good.
One to go then. Iceman, he was telling me earlier in the week how this is not a favourite track of his, but of course, job done already for the round of 10. He's into the next round, so this is just a matter of score as many points as you can. He won't be too bothered by not getting pole, as it looks good for Red Matt for the moment. SD Matt's now, by the way, guaranteed his best ever start in a JACKOCAR Cup Series race. Iceman for Ascari goes purple. At the moment, and that's the lapper, and it won't be pole.
But it will be valid, and that could be so important in the long run. If he can just get this across the line, he can recover it in the race. He'll be disappointed with that mistake, but as he comes around the last corner, let's see where it goes. I'm sure this will put Red Matt on pole, but we'll see. It still actually looks quite close. He goes third fastest. That would have easily been pole then, without the mistake. And, I guess a P3 is somewhat of a recovery, but it is Red Matt on pole here at Monza. And we've got some racing prospect. We've got the top three in the championship. The three who you could easily argue are the favourites to go on and win the thing. They have got 7 wins between them in the first 11 races, Red Matt, Casper and Iceman. It's safe to say that they are the ones in the driving seat. But with SD Mats on his Joker in P4, he'll be hoping for somewhat of a clean race today to get this Joker done. And we've seen it be so successful here in the past. He's got a real chance to make his statement today too.
He has. He just needs to avoid that sort of 75% of the way through the race lapse that he seems to have. You know, he runs well and then just a small mistake or gets caught up with someone else's crash. That's what's ruined him this season. But I think he's on his way, isn't he? He's a man that deserves to advance to the next round. But that, as well, whilst I think of it, is Red Matt's 5th pole position of the season and all time, actually. And tell you what, as well, Pete up there in P5, great qualifying for him.
Yeah, good run for the man in the chase, trying to make it work. And yeah, we'll see how that all pans out as we confirm the qualifying order. Red Matt on pole then from Casper, Iceman, SD Mats, Pete, Jake, Yuri and Leroy. Good stuff in those two. Corey, Jordan, all on the softs then. Jamie, Kieran and Arnold all tried it on mediums, but they all had issues on their laps. MK Bourne, Tease, who didn't actually ever go out, did he? Risky, Connor, Jamie and Gareth. 5 drivers out any times, 2 of which were of course quality bands. The other 3 just weren't able to get it right.
Yeah, and you got Connor and Gareth also on their Jokers coming through from the back, so that evens out the pit stop gain or loss of the other drivers. So it really is, if you're going to have a one to watch tonight, it's going to be SD Mats, isn't it?
I'd certainly say so, yeah. He's got to be on everyone's radar. He's certainly on ours. He has been all season. And yeah, let's see what we get presented with in the race. It's pretty much identical conditions to what we saw in qualifying. I'd be very surprised if it goes and rains here, but we saw in Canada that when it rains, sometimes it just pours. So yeah, we'll keep it in mind on this one.
Yeah, and Ben confirming in chat there as well. He had a little bit of floor damage. He managed to keep the lap valid, as you might have seen, by lifting off on the exit of Ascari when he went wide. But I think he'll be happy with P3. Like I says, it's not a track he likes, and that mistake as well. Everyone write that in your calendar. Iceman has made a mistake this season.
Yeah,
they don't come along too often.
It's been such a rare thing to see, hasn't it, from him? Because he's been so good this season. I mean, he's been a step above anything he's shown us before. And what was it, season 2 when he got into the Championship 5? It seemed almost like such a shock to see him there. But now, you look at him and think he could easily win the title. It's incredible how much he's done, and especially in the last 2 seasons where it didn't quite work out for him. It's good to see it all coming together.
What a lot of people don't realise as well with Ben is he's 5th all time in points. He's only 24 points behind Pete, who's only ever missed 2 races and is a champion.
Yeah.
So he knows what he's doing. He knows how to grind out the results. In fact, Ben, this is his 51st race tonight. 3 wins, 22 top 5s and 40 top 10s. So 10 races where he hasn't been in the top 10. That's incredible going, really. Yeah,
it's a bit like how we were talking about Jimmy Bromley back at the start of JACKOCAR, except that never really worked out, did it, in the end? But this is almost the potential we saw from him coming through in the shape of Iceman in 3rd place in this race and looking to get another top 10. So, Red Matt, though, again, he is on pole, and he kept his lap all together. He has, let's say, the 2 wins this season, and like I say, I don't think we've seen sort of 3 drivers be this competitive. Sometimes you see 1 or 2 sort of dominate a season, say, but it's good to see 3 of them out at this time, and all at the front. Kieran is still waiting for the all-important first win. It would take quite a miracle to have it happen tonight, but with the way he is, it wouldn't surprise me if it actually happened on a race like this. So just keep your eye on him. 2nd driver on those mediums. If he can get himself in front of Jamie, just who knows? And Jamie, of course, will be sitting there looking to get a first win of the season. It's taken him so long. Longer than usual, this. We know it always comes eventually, but he just wants to be careful it doesn't end up being a bit like Season 3, where he did get knocked out early, and it was a shock. It doesn't always happen like that, of course, but he'll be surely sitting there thinking, only 6th in the title race. I mean, in 2 races' time, he could be in a bit of trouble.
You say early, it was round of 6 that he did get knocked out in, but I'm sure the win at some point is on his way for Jamie, and he will make a season's worth out of it. He always does, doesn't he? Kieran, like you say, will he get that elusive first win? It is Monza, anything can happen. But as we look towards the front of the grid, Red Matt and Casper to get us underway, can you really look past one of those two for a winner? The only man out there, I would say, is that man in P4, SD Mats on his Joker. A win guarantees him a place in the round of 8. But we will see what happens over the next 27 laps. Your stage points tonight are the end of lap 7 and lap 13. Owen Wyatt, it's that time again.
We all love this, don't we? This should be a fascinating race. There are definitely 4 drivers, I'd say, in this. Which one will come out on top? Boogity, boogity, boogity. Let's go racing in Monza. Looks like a pretty decent start from the front 2. Red Matt should be able to hold on. It's a big collision at the back. Kieran's definitely involved in that. That could cost him a lot of points in this championship as we head through VSC straight away. Let's see who all's involved. Jamie doesn't even appear to be moving. Kieran has got away. Jamie has also got away. So those two are still in the race, crucially. But who all's made gains here? Jamie has been disqualified. Doesn't really surprise me. His car was just sort of sat still. It's so hard to see who all got involved. OKK's involved. He's got a bit of damage. Looks like Gareth may have actually survived it on his Joker. That could be massive for him. No visual damage, but we don't know about the floor. And, yeah, the highest man then left on mediums is, it's that man again, isn't it? It's Arnold. He'll be loving watching that. But how on earth did it happen, Jack? That was one of the most bizarre things we've seen on the start of a JACKOCAR race.
Well, first of all, I didn't even see OKK join the session, but good to see he did make it and currently runs P16. Jamie, that's Jamie, DSQ Jamie, we're going to call him. He did say in chat right before the start that his you'll love this. This is the new one.
Here we go.
His dad turned the internet off without asking during qualifying. He managed to set his lap, you may recall, invalidated, but it set his lap.
No.
Got the internet back on, rejoined the lobby, and then couldn't take control of his car, so he was in spectator mode and couldn't do anything with it. The guys behind him, I think there's only one car behind him, managed to avoid him, but the crash happened further up, and it was Jordan and Kieran that were mainly involved in that, but I really didn't see a lot of what happened. I was looking at the front of the grid where Red Matt got away really well. Look at the amount of cars in the pit lane.
So many involved in this safety car incident. You can see why it is a safety car, and you can see why it was so important that Gareth Hall, despite being caught up in it all, didn't get any damage, because it's landed him a P9 here. And he's now the highest on mediums, on the Joker, remember. This could be incredibly good for him. You cannot understate how big of an opportunity this is.
Don't forget as well, Gareth, he's got 2 podiums this season. Alright, yes, he was a Kia Series driver last season, but he's managed to come into Cup, get himself into the playoffs, and he's got a perfectly timed Joker to go on and make something of it. He knows what he's doing, does Gareth, so be interesting to keep our eyes on him. Connor has made a non-mandatory pit stop, the other Joker down in P14. I'd say that's his Joker race ruined.
Yes.
But SD Mats has retained P4 as the other one.
Yes, and luckily for us, there wasn't all that much mind you, nothing really could happen at the front, could it? It was a VSC before turn 1, so I guess all those guys just sort of kept themselves in check, and we are now able just to wait for the guys to catch to the safety car. But that must be the quickest VSC to safety car we've seen ever. There must be. I'm sure somewhere there'll be some timings on it. we can look at that at some point and just see quickest start to safety car incident, because that was pretty. Oh my goodness. No, that is a surprise. This is in the entry to Ascari, and Jamie and Tease have come together. And Jamie, I was saying it, he could be under pressure. This is definitely not going to help out with that. As Jordan, a man who could end up knocking him out in the future, drives past wondering what on earth has just happened. Absolutely extraordinary.
The game, if you look, P19 is T's. The game isn't moving his car. Jamie's car's already gone.
Yeah, I hope it moves, actually. Maybe it's just waiting for him to leave, which he has done now. We'll keep our eye on that when they come round, because if we end up with a car, mind you, he's gone.
It's gone, yeah. Okay.
I was going to say, he would have been out of the way anyway, but still, it would have been a bit of a distraction. But yeah, in the championship context,
that's huge.
Jamie will be sitting there thinking that that's actually quite bad, because once again, the two jokers here are in a decent spot, especially, I'd say, Gareth, who's on those mediums, will be able to stick some fresh sauce on later on, assuming it all falls into place for him, which it has done so far. So that's two drivers that would knock him into, what, 8th place?
And then that is pretty jokers as well.
Concerning.
It's Jordan. Jordan needs 2 points, which is a P15 finish, to go ahead of Kyle. And then, of course, you've got ST and Gareth. So, yeah, it's Jordan at risk. But Jamie Wright could be struggling here. I mean, Jordan sits 9 points behind Jamie. So 9 points is a P8 finish. So if Jordan gets P8, then Jamie could be in trouble, certainly for the next round.
And what a shock that would be, to see Kyle and Jamie, the two protagonists, going so early. But let's see what more we've got in store, because we've got a restart now. The first proper run really to turn 1. Let's see if they can get it right as we head through. There's the grid hatchings, and we are away. Now, I wonder if SD Mats was a bit asleep on that, because he's lost 2 spots. And Corey and Gar seem to be fighting away. But look at Casper, outside line into turn 1. Risky stuff. Will he make it work, or is he just going to cut back in? He will. He'll just sit behind and be sensible. And looks like Pete might actually have been the one who went early. SD Mats, though, still falling down. He's got a 5-second penalty as Pete, but what on earth is happening to SD Mats? He's already down in 9th place. It's a shocker, that, for him, isn't it? And Gareth in the wars as well, as he goes side by side here with Risky, who's on a fresh set of the soft compound tires. NK Bourne's gone for a spin. But yeah, the two Joker drivers remaining having a very sluggish restart here, as we see a fight between Corey and Arnold beginning to brew here as they head through. I don't think there's going to be anything silly going on as they just bed themselves into the race here on lap 4. There'll be no DRS until lap 6, so that will be a factor until then. But once it does come into play, I imagine we'll see plenty of action from it.
Absolutely. So I was just catching up with the non-mandatory stops there. For anybody who keeps track at home, that was Risky, Arnold, Leroy, Mike, Tyes, Connor, OKK, Jamie Wright, Kieran and Jordan.
Wow, look at the pit stops.
Yeah, and I'm not surprised by that either. These are mandatory stops now for those 5 at the back.
Well, that puts SD Max back up into 4th place, doesn't it? And you can see the direct benefits of the Joker there, even though he had a really bad restart. I mean, Iceman's not even left his pit lane yet. Here he comes now, and we've got Kieran again off. And he's picked up a 3-second penalty as well. But, yeah, Kieran falling by the wayside today. I think he was feeling it a little bit under pressure coming into this one, wasn't he? Even though he was easily through, for some reason he seemed a bit tense on it last week, and this won't really help his nerves when he comes to the next round, because with where Corey is, you know, he may be able to at some point get in a position to overtake him in the championship standings today.
Kieran hadn't advanced. He needed, needs 2 points, but you know, he's going to be safe with the fact that Kyle's not here, and one of Jordan, Gareth, and Christian will be eliminated with Kyle. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, he's not been the most confident this week. He normally is. Normally you'll joke to him and say, "Oh, you're going to win this week."
He has gone
But it
off.
hasn't happened to him. It's MK Bourne.
No, that's going to bring a safety car because he's lost his front wing.
It is a safety car.
Now, someone has come into the pits. It's risky. This again helps these guys who've pitted now. So Iceman will be sort of licking his lips, just thinking, yes, get in there. Now he'll be able to see SD Matt, whereas before he certainly wouldn't have been able to. And so SD Matt will be sitting there thinking, brilliant. As will Gareth Hall. I'll be thinking, well, that might not be the maximum result. But yeah, another safety car. We've only had, 1.5 laps of action so far. That hasn't been under safety car. They've been very naughty so far, these guys.
Risky was in the pit lane then when the safety car come out. I've just watched the replay back, the stream back. The safety car was deployed before Risky had committed to pit road.
So that'll go down to non-mandatory then.
Yeah, that's 2 non-mandatories for him now.
I'm sure he'll try and claim that, I was a good at pit anyway. But, he's got a bit more work to do then with that. Mind you, I suppose he hasn't lost that much, has he? Because he's going to lose something on a pit stop anyway. At least he'll be on the back of the train when he does it. And, MK Bourne calls the safety car, has now got a drive-through penalty for speeding behind it. It's not been a fun last lap for him, has it? But,
Has not.
look at another safety car and he'll be able to make up the time as Arnold takes another non-mandatory. He's already done the mandatory tyres, so I'm not actually sure why he's going for this, but puts him into the pack a little bit, gets him out in front of Iceman, but actually does it, because it's a longer pit lane exit. He's ahead now, but actually at speed might not be able to. No, he doesn't, so Iceman actually gets ahead. That's big for his race. He wouldn't have wanted to be stuck behind Arnold.
Not at all. As Pete and Corey also pit. This is everyone's taking advantage of it here.
The non-mandatory counter is going to be going haywire.
Well, it's by the way, there's a stage point at the end of this lap. I'm just going to count the non-mandatory. So 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 already.
Yeah, some impressive numbers. And of
I
course,
think that's the most we've had all season.
Yeah, it's only lap 7. So you'll probably see some more knowing this track and its characteristics. But it's going to be a bit of a nightmare for us to keep a track of, I must say, as the race continues on. Luckily,
that's right. You commentate, I'll keep a track of it.
Yeah, luckily Jacko's doing that. I think I'd be in real trouble if I had to do both jobs. That's why there's 2 of us. No, I don't expect we'll see the safety car in this lap. It'll probably be next lap because there's still a few cars nowhere near the pack, let's say. So we will be.
Leroy and ST Mats. Leroy's taken ST under safety car here.
I think that was just a small error, really. Just ST may have just accidentally pulled ahead for a moment.
No, ST was in front beforehand.
Well, there's no penalties coming up for it, so...
Looking back at the stream, yeah, ST was in front.
What the hell is my phone doing? Can you hear that?
I can.
What is happening? It sounds like it's dying, doesn't it? I need you for, stats. If you die on me now, I'm in trouble. That's not a good sign for a phone to make, is it?
I don't think so.
Yeah. Well, RIP to my iPhone then.
Yeah, sorry, I've just watched it back on stream. And Leroy has just overtaken ST going into Parabolica under safety car.
Weird one, that. I'm sure there'll be some... Well, the game's not giving anything, so I suppose there's nothing that can really be done about it, can there?
Well, we'll find out.
Why has my phone done that? I'm sorry, I'm getting very distracted now. It's going haywire, so I need to get my stats back up. So yeah, distract them for a minute.
I'm filling out my own stats, I must admit. Although Mr. Speed _ Redmat _ has picked up the first stage point of the race, but I believe that is his 10th of the season. The record is 12, currently held by Kyle Smith from season 2. So Redmat is 2 away from that, and Redmat also leads the most laps led. I think he's up to 127 now, as I think we are going to stay out one more lap, Owen.
Yes, MK Bourne is having the worst race of his life. He's going to crash out. Okay, well, oh, it's going in. So as MK Bourne stacks it, the safety car's in. Thank goodness we noticed that, and thank goodness we caught the crash as well. I've done everything for you there, viewers, so be appreciative. But now we get to see how this restart goes. Look at Leroy getting into the position, and look at Leroy. Oh, he just couldn't quite get away at time. He nearly nailed it, but Gareth is the one who nails it this time. He's up into the podium positions on a Joker. This is fantastic stuff so far from him. He's having the race of his life, but he gets a little bit of contact into turn 1, but has got out okay. Who's that cutting across the track? I couldn't quite tell. I don't think it was. He's currently sitting 4th. I think it was actually Leroy who's falling all the way down the field as we head through to the end of the first sector. But it's the 2 Jokers now running line astern in P3 and 4. They'll be loving this as side by side go a few more. Another one going off the road. And was that Corey perhaps this time? I can't quite tell actually. But it's Connor actually. He's got no front wing on his car. And you must be careful, you don't cause another safety car here.
OKK made a beautiful move on the outside of Jordan, who is now under threat. Well, Kieran's already got him, but look at the train forming behind Kieran, Jordan, Catchman and Arnold, all part of that.
Oh.
And it's Jake that gets Jordan into Ascari. I thought there was a spinner. There is a spinner. Oh no, it's not. It's a car off. ST Mats gets past Gareth. And here comes OKK up into P4. What a opening restart that was.
Yeah, dramatic stuff once again, but look at the front 2. They have bolted, haven't they? And they're straight into the pit lane. Gareth is going to lead the race, and he may well get a playoff for it as well. Assuming that we don't get any more safety cars between now and the pit stop, he may well stay out and try and do that. And he'll be liking this. Obviously, you'll see SD is taking his only stop, he hopes, of the evening. But look at this train for the lead. When DRS gets enabled, we're going to see a lot of action here.
I'm just watching Risky go past his teammate Pete. No dramas there, as Yori now is on the back, or closing up to the back of Pete. They will all be working together, that's for sure. Iceman in front of them. So, and I tell you what, Redmat's behind Yori as well, so that's a line of 5 as speed drivers, as we see Kieran have an issue.
I think he might have just been overtaken again. He's having a tricky day, but look at this for the lead, side by side, and oh, they nearly hit each other. So risky that down towards Ascari, but Jake is into the lead then of the Italian Grand Prix. And look at this, Gareth is just losing so much time, and he nearly loses it on the curb. Here comes Corey now through, and he's up into 2nd place, and he cuts across as well.
Gareth just has to play it sensible though. These 2 in front have to do 2 mandatory stops. Gareth only once, so that's an immediate 20-second advantage. But his car looks so loose, doesn't it? And unstable, as Jake leads lap 10.
And he's trying to get out of the DRS range, but yeah, he might do it. He might get it done. Here comes Iceman. Couldn't quite get himself through. Now, of course, he is going to be sitting here thinking that he's in a pretty decent position as well, because he's already made the mandatory stop earlier on, hasn't he? And he's, well, you can see it for yourself, he's ahead of Redmat and Casper right now, so he'll be liking this. And here he comes, past Iceman 2, or past Gareth 2, and he's up into the podium positions. Surely Gareth isn't going to be able to fight back. He's got the older tyres, and he seems to be a lot less confident in his machinery. And I think Pete will be the next target. Now, how's SD Mats doing? Has he got some decent pace? Because obviously we want to keep our eye on this, because he's going to the end on this, and if we get a safety car, you know, say now, he gets to bunch up to the pack a bit more.
Yeah, the safety car right this second would really work out for him. He is the only man to have completed his mandatory stops, or stop even. Gareth, saying that, is the only one who hasn't stopped. But SD, I think he's just going along nicely, waiting for it to come to him, isn't he?
Right, so DRS then. No one making much of it just yet, but as Jake comes into the pits, we see the first, I think, DRS move of the race. Here it comes. It's going to be Pete coming through on Gareth, nearly wheel binding. In fact, I think they definitely did bind there once. And as they head through the turn one, that'll be another position lost for Gareth. And oh, is that Casper? It is Casper. Now, what's he done? He's got stuff all over his tyres. And he's into the pits.
This will be to complete the mandatory
front wing
stops.
Front wing.
And a new front wing.
Wow.
For car 50.
That is a surprise, isn't it? That'll...
Leroy and Arnold also in.
Any of those for front wings or anything like that? I don't think so. Well, whatever's happened, I hope it isn't in contact with Redman. I think those two were the guys who were closest to each other, actually.
Arnold's actually having a shocking race, isn't he?
Yeah, he's made so many pit stops. It might come to him later on, but I think that's his third or fourth stop, but it's only lap 12. As I see Risky coming through. Oh, 4, Jesus. Coming through.
Oh, Risky! What a save!
And can Gareth get back through? Can Yuri get them as well? His first race as a full-time driver, wouldn't he just love a big result? As Gareth just about stays in front, but he isn't going to get any DRS on Pete, and I think he may well get done by 1-2 cars on this straight. Look at Yuri abusing those track limits to within an inch of his life as Iceman makes his last stop here as Yuri comes through on Gareth as well. I don't think he'll be able to quite do it on Risky, but still, both of them getting ahead of Gareth, and he has 9 seconds behind him now, some free air. Hopefully that'll sort of just help him get into a rhythm as SD Maps fastest lap for the race.
He does have pace, yeah.
And he's ahead of Iceman. So they have both finished their pit stop strategy. So this could well be a fight for a victory this today. You just never know. And Jake, or has he made his stops? Jake, both of them.
Both of Jake's stops are mandatory. He's on his way.
And the front 4, what are we looking at on them?
Corey has made one non-mandatory, so yeah, one of those is real. Same for Pete, same for Risky, same for Yuri.
And so that means that we are watching then the top 3 in this race as it stands would be Jake, SD Mats and Iceman. And Jordan's had a non-mandatory, hasn't he? So he will fall a bit behind that, but he's got 18 seconds behind him. So he may find himself in a decent spot as well. So, you know, this could be a really interesting day in the championship.
Yeah. But the man behind him is Connor, who has made one non-mandatory and his one Joker stop as well. So he's technically net P4 on the road. It's all up in the air, isn't it? Because you've still got Gareth up there in P5 as we see Redmat complete his stops. Who you can't call the winner halfway through this race.
Here
is
comes
it going to be
Iceman. Iceman will pass, and he will now chase after Jake. Will Jake be able to hold on for a victory? We've been waiting so long to see it happen. Will it be today?
Corey, by the way, picking up the lap 13 stage point. So the other one went to Redmat. That's both stages done and dealt with. Redmat with the pole. So all we got left to decide now is the podiums and the fastest lap, which currently is held by Arnold. Great timing.
Yes. One of the few things Arnold's done well today. Sadly, at the back of the field.
He won't finish there. You know he won't.
He'll win the race. But you know, until that happens, we can talk about him down there. He's, as you say, going for the 800 club tonight. I don't think 16's going to help him too much in that, though, is it?
No, he would pick up 1 point. He would need 6 points on his next trip to the Cup Series.
Pete tonight into the pits.
Yes. So this, again, is to complete the stops, the mandatory ones. I tell you what, if we did like they do those word clouds of most used words, I think mandatory and non-mandatory would be right up there this season, wouldn't they?
Yeah, absolutely would. I've noticed, by the way, SD Mats has stayed within DRS range of Iceman. Now, this is good because they're both going to be catching Jake here. And so we could end up seeing actually a three-way fight for the lead of the race at some point, because it looks like Jake hasn't quite got the pace to hold Iceman off right now. As Gareth is all over the back of Yuri. Not able to get past him, but he'll have DRS.
These two continuing their battle from the Kia series, and it was joked earlier in the week when Yuri got announced as full-time that Gareth said, "Oh, we'll be fighting each other each week until Championship 5," and that is exactly what they're doing. Race 1, and it's already happening. For P3, Yuri has a moment and saves it, and so does Gareth. Yuri has another moment. It might be lag, actually.
Nah, that's definitely moments. They are struggling out there. As they head into the last corner, looks like Corey's staying out here. And he's got a decent gap, by the way, actually, to Jake. I mean, his pace at the end of the race should be lightning fast. As Gareth gets himself a move past and into P3 there on Yuri. And yeah, decent stuff from him. Obviously, we'll see where he ends up on the Joker. Let's say with Kyle not being here and with Jamie crashing out early, he'll still probably be happy enough with wherever he ends up today. It should be some good points for him. And the top 3 after pit stops we think will be Jake, Iceman, SD Mats. They're all in DRS, and Yuri will back that off, I think.
I'll tell you what, Owen, I don't know about you, but I've had a lovely helicopter shot all the way from the exit Parabolica of Gareth and Yuri fighting. It's changed now as we enter Lesmo 1, but what a lovely shot that was. Something Codemaster's definitely got right there.
Yeah, I was on board, so I missed it. Oh well.
I'll stream next week.
Now here he comes again, Yuri. Is he gonna try it into your Scary? That would be a brave move. As he pulls out to the left-hand side, surely he backs off. Yeah, I was worried for you there for a moment.
Oh, Gareth lifts and drops down a gear.
We've got to turn our attention here away from that fight, because we very much, unless we just lose OKK, that could bring a safety car. I hope it doesn't, because we've got a very interesting fight brewing here. Oh, disqualified for trying to. He's trying to recover onto the track as well. That's the sad thing. He's well, he's been called out by the game's clunkiness, but this.
And the game's going to leave him there.
This could be the move, Jacko. Iceman comes through on Jake, and it was as easy as that. He's through into the net lead of the race, but it has to be stated again that I think, anyway, that Corey, towards the end of this race, could be one to watch. So these guys will be on aging tyres. Corey, 15 seconds clear of the nearest car. When he pits, he will surely be very fast indeed. Then that pit stop could be as soon as this lap. So we will certainly be keeping our eye on this. Pete is on the softs as well, and you can see how close he is. Of course, the penalty doesn't help him, but he is finished on mandatory stops, and he will be able to get involved here. So this race has got a very interesting ending coming up.
I agree, and just to quickly run through it for everyone, Corey and Yuri both need to pit along with Gareth. Everyone, Iceman, Jake, SD Mats, Pete, Jordan. Oh no, Jordan. But yeah, so Iceman down to Pete. They have all completed their mandatory stops. There's Corey, by the way, extends his lead up front. The only issue he does have is he's going to have to get through the field. Yuri pits.
I don't think he's going to have much of the field to get through. That's the problem.
Not at this speed, no.
Yeah, that's the problem that these 4 in the train are going to have. Because they're gonna all be fighting anyway, and when Corey comes through, we know he's got previous when it comes to fighting in big packs, and yeah, that first chicane looks very tempting for a nice pile-up, doesn't it? So they'll all be worried about what happened in Austria.
Oh, this move, by the way, Pete on SD Mats. If it finishes like this with Pete in front of SD Mats, so in this order, then SD Mats is eliminated and Jordan advances to the next round.
Well. It just keeps
SD
changing.
has to get back through. Or Jordan, but then again, Jordan has to pit again. But it just shows how often and how often it's changing, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does, and it's gonna be like this till the flag. Is Corey gonna pit? Would you just hurry up and pit? I want to see what your face is like on these softs. I want to see you getting stuck into these guys. As SD falls away from the DRS train, it's now a 3-car fight, I'd say, and well, Pete should be able to get through. But the
Pete's
penalty
going really well, actually. Yeah.
penalty will cost him, though. The penalty really will cost him, I think. I fear.
Gareth pits.
Gareth has pitted. His ERS is also essentially run out, Pete, which isn't necessarily going to help. Which is why he's not able to make anything happen into turn 1, but he should just have the raw grip out of here just to even help him close in. And you can see it there, just how much he gains, in the corner. And then on the traction, and then he'll gain even more in the middle sector, and you'll see it all sort of add up.
Esty, by the way, has to outscore Gareth by 6 points to advance. But as it stands, Jordan now pitting. It's Jordan who is eliminated along with Kyle, so Gareth and Esty would go through.
Now, you can see Corey's gap now. So we can get a direct sort of comparison as to where he'll be. And so I reckon he will come out at worst in 5th place. And then he will be flying towards the end of this race. He's looking for a 3rd victory this season. And, well, as it's looking so far, he's looking pretty decent for it. And he is into the pits. This is exciting stuff. And I tell you what, Jake, he's also still not letting Iceman get away. Obviously, we know Pete's got the speed. But
no, Jake spun!
Oh, what a moment! What a moment that could be in his season. Oh, he was on for a podium result, wasn't he? And he's blown it. That's unbelievable. But look at where Corey is. Corey's out into the train, and he's going to be straight into DRS.
I wonder if Iceman lets Pete go here. But then again, they're going to lose too much time to play the team game, aren't they? Estimat sits P4. What a day he's having. But Jake, by the way, recovers to P6, so it's not all lost. And that's crucial for the chase. We have yellow flags.
Connor.
It's Connor who's
that
out.
Could be safety car.
This changes
it's
everything.
A big accident,
safety car.
Safety car. I'd say we just seen Leroy into the pits. I think he was already committed, to be honest, when he went in there.
Yeah, he was.
But oh my goodness, Corey. What a... Jesus, if you hadn't went to pit on that lap, you would have been in so much trouble. What a good piece of timing that was.
The thing is, what do you do now? Do you come in and have fresh tyres? Or do you stay out with track position? This is what this rule was brought in for, to create this dilemma in the heads of the drivers. And what would you do, Owen? I mean, personally, if I'm... if you're Corey, you stay out, but what about everyone else?
I'm staying out, I think, because the gaps aren't big enough for it to be worth doing, because there's so many out there on softs, relatively new softs, so I think, honestly, I'd be staying out. And you can see the dummy trying to be pulled there from Pete, so that's not going to fool anybody.
Ben's too wise for that
SD
one. SD has pits.
I mean, he's thrown his joker away. I mean, I suppose he's on the oldest tyres on the track, and that has Jake in 2 and Redman. Okay, well, those guys doing it makes it worth it for the guys behind to do it. But Gareth, he's not going to throw away a joker, is he? It puts him into the top 5, and he's on very good tyres.
Yori and
look
Kieran
at how many
also.
I pitted. I'm so surprised at this. Again, I suppose it's domino effect, isn't it? When the first comes in, they'll all come in.
Yeah.
Jordan is going to gain a lot from this.
He's only just pitted though, so as it stands,
this
they're all next week. It's Gareth and Jordan that advance. It's SD Matt's going home.
Good thing he's on some new tyres, isn't it? And Iceman in the lead of the race, the only driver left on mediums. Oh boy, you're gonna have to give us some of the best driving you've ever produced. I mean, it's not massively crucial that he wins the race, but it is crucial that he doesn't let himself fall down the field dramatically, and we have seen it before. We've seen accidents come of it as well. A lot of things can go wrong when the guy on the oldest tyres happens to be the race leader. And we've also seen heartbreak from this situation. I mustn't be the only one who's still thinking about what Deck managed to do in Australia in a similar situation to this.
The only thing is, on this occasion, if Iceman were to lose it like that, he's already in the next round.
True.
It's Gareth, Esty, and Jordan, isn't it?
There's so much at
who
stake
goes
for them.
home.
So
And
much.
all three of them have had brilliant races as well. You don't want to lose them from the playoffs.
Yeah, that's why I love the playoffs, though. Someone else in the pits, by the way, Red Matt, has gone in again, so he must have had something go wrong. Oh! Well, how's that even possible? A 5-second penalty for Pete. He hasn't done anything. I don't think.
Penalties that are multiples of 5, you can get removed upon review.
I'd hazard a guess and say that'll be removed, because I'm not entirely sure what he's meant to have done.
We would have to see it, obviously. But yeah, it will. We'll assume he doesn't have the penalty for now.
Yeah,
but he still has that 3 seconds. Let's have a quick count. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 21, 22, 23 non-mandatory pit stops this race. That is a new record.
Excuse me if I'm very upset right now. I'm about to watch Harry Kane smash a penalty. Bloody hell. I'm an Arsenal fan, as you might know. This is painful to watch. Thank God we've got a restart coming up. Please,
that'll cheer you up.
Please let these lights turn out. I can't. Thank you. Because I can't stand to watch him celebrate. Oh, please, Sky it. I'm turning to a football commentator here. Kane. He's probably going to hit it. It was right. He's going to hit someone in the crowd. He hasn't. Right, Arsenal's hopes of top 4 is over. So, back to the race. The safety car is in, or coming in, and Iceman is going to have to do the impossible here. I think we've got to call it that, haven't we? This is such a massive challenge.
Just quickly as well. Everyone from 6th down, excluding Jordan, is on fresh tyres.
Important to note.
The mandatory stops have been completed.
Important to note, of course, Arnold's really got to play to the rules here. He'll probably actually go into the pits. Yeah, he's okay, so he's done the right thing there. And that'll give Corey a head start. In fact, look at Pete, in fact. Pete's gone straight through. And he's into the lead. But look at the slipstream. Look at the slipstream for Iceman. If I'm Iceman, I'm coming straight back through. In towards turn 1. Here he goes down the inside. He's going to have such a big incident if he's not careful. Because guys in the back, they are having incidents. And look at all the mess happening as Corey nearly loses it. And his front wing's flying everywhere. Something's gone wrong at the back of the grid. But here comes Corey on Iceman. I'm sure Pete got a penalty for cutting the corner. And that certainly will not get removed that time. So he's got 6 seconds, I'd say, as of now.
I'm pretty sure as well, Pete actually overtook Iceman before the line here.
So that could be an even bigger penalty.
We'll have to review it. We will have to review it.
And this is going to be the biggest train you've ever seen. If Corey can't get through here, this is a move for the lead as it stands. And Corey, he's using his ERS. He's really wasting it here because he's not close enough. Or is he? He has a look on the inside. A bit compromised on his line and has to back it off a little bit for your Sky. But on the exit, look at the run as he comes through and he's side by side. Who else is going to have a go? Look at Risky. All over the back of it is just looking for an opening. And he could be on for a second victory in the Cup Series if he can have these two have some sort of moment as they all come through the final corner. Look how slow Iceman is. He's got no pace. And Risky's got the best run. Risky's just run out of ERS, but he's going to go for the lead. Here he goes. 4 wide, SD Mats as well. And he's got the best run now. And this is a massive moment in the championship. Oh, is he going to get through? Is he brave enough on the brakes? Oh, they've all hit each other. And there's so much bouncing about going on. Corey's got himself through. But SD Mats is into 4th place. And if he can move it, oh, contact with Risky. Could have been so costly, but they've kept it going. And remember, DRS may still be a factor in this yet. So as could Casper, we know his pace as he gets himself alongside Risky and nearly makes contact. They'll go side by side into the Lesmos. And I think actually Casper will have to back it up. But look at that, cutting through on the inside. That was brilliant actually, to get himself through. And are we going to see any sort of counter-attack from Iceman? I think we will actually. He's trying to keep himself close.
Gareth's dropped down to P12 by the way at the moment. That knocks him out. It's Jordan and ST Mats going through to the playoffs. Oh, this is unbelievable moment. And Yori has a moment out of Ascari. He's going to be compromised here. Jordan gets past him. What's happening at the front?
I tell you what's happening at the front. Pete is extending his gap. I think Corey might struggle here with no DRS, because I'm sure Iceman's not going to want to give this up at any point. But look at how little speed he's got in the faster corners. It's a massive struggle for him. And with DRS enabled, if he falls behind Corey there, then he may end up losing the podium position. Pete will be looking at trying to think of every way he can lose penalties, but I think he's bound to right for at least 6 seconds. And so that would mean ST Mats, if he can just keep this all going normally, he should get the opportunity to pass Iceman in the last couple of laps, and that would be for a crucial 2nd place. So let's see if he can do that.
A career day for ST Mats. He's got 2.5 laps to hold on. But Iceman, as you say, is not falling that far back from Corey. And Corey now, though, is starting to make those inroads on Pete. He's almost within a second. You'd like to think next time around he'll be in DRS.
And look at this. ST Mats, DRS wide open. Iceman, vulnerable as they head through towards Ascari. Red Matt, he's got a penalty, but he's seemingly the fastest guy out there. He's flown up through the pack, having made 2 stops under the safety car, and you can see him slightly abusing the track limits. He's desperate to try and get himself into the mix here too. And as they all come through to start the penultimate lap of the race, Corey, I think, might be able to get DRS here on Pete. It'll be close. He has got it. So Iceman, he also has it, but he won't be able to make much of an advantage out of it. And, well, if Pete ends up in some sort of issue in the last 2 laps, this could close it all up again. Because I'm sure Pete isn't just going to roll over here for Corey.
He won't, you know. Oh, is he spun? He will roll over for Corey.
Wow. Oh, Pete. That's a shocker. That is a shocker. And it's so, so costly. He will be absolutely livid.
He will.
But...
Iceman's had a moment. What a save in ST Mats. It's opened the door for him.
Yeah, what a save. But surely this is going to give Corey his win, because he's now not going to have any DRS to worry about unless Iceman throws everything at this. But will ST Mats be able to do it before him? He's not using his DRS. He doesn't really look like he's going for the win. He just wants 2nd place. If he'd used ERS, he could have got through. He might have had a chance at pressurising Corey. But he's, I suppose, playing the smart game. But he's got Casper all over him. And Casper's now going for a side-by-side, surely towards the last corner. And that's going to cause some complications, because Red Mat's there too. And Iceman is getting closed in again. Are we going to see some more free 4-wide action as we begin the final lap? Corey's on course for a 3rd victory of this season. But ST Mats and Casper are side-by-side on the main straight. And they're also being followed by Red Mat. But now, Iceman, he's out of ERS. The closing speed's going to be massive. Where does ST Mats go? He's nearly onto the grass. But look at Casper around the outside. And he's got himself ahead of ST Mats. And look at the defence from Iceman. He's doing everything he can. But it's going to cost him dear, surely. ST Mats falls down to 5th place. But look at Red Mat and look at Casper. They're all over the back here. And it's going to be so close. Red Mat, anywhere for him to go? Not quite. Casper makes contact with Iceman, and these curbs are so bouncy you can see it. And it's going to take ST Mats out, and it's a massive moment. Can Jordan get through? He doesn't quite, but he might be alright. He's got some damage. He has got damage. Gareth is going to be loving this, because he's right up into this, and ST Mats is going to be out of the playoffs. What a disaster. And it's going to be Corey, Casper, and Risky on the podium
as well.
Risky on the podium as well. Fantastic stuff. That's a big result for him if he can achieve it. As we see Corey coming through the last corner All the drama happened behind him today. He has played this one perfectly. He'll see the checkered flag, and Corey takes a third victory of the season. Good stuff from him. Casper comes home in second position, and Risky on the podium. Fantastic stuff. Yuri in fourth, Red Matt fifth. Kieran ends up sixth. In fact, he ends up eighth. Gareth and Jordan sixth and seventh. They will take that. Thank you very much. Leroy in ninth, and Esty Mats. Oh, so frustrating for him because there was nothing he could do. He was caught completely boxed in. What a shame.
Awful, isn't it? Awful. Heartbreak. It is heartbreak for Esty Mats. He drove the best race of his career in JACKOCAR, and he caught out by a spinning Iceman. Nothing Iceman could do, not his fault. He just lost the rear. It's so easy to do. Risky picks up the in-game driver today, but yeah, I can't remember who Iceman collided with at the time, but Esty Matt's just a passenger behind them, and that means he is eliminated along with Kyle from the round of 10. It's Gareth and Jordan who advance and make ground on Jamie Wright. Kieran, sort of a semi-decent day to recover to P8, but Iceman has actually lost out here. And it's Red Matt and Casper and Corey who have all gained.
Well, when it comes to sort of heartbreaking ways to lose out, Esty Mats has had it there. But happens as well. It happens in racing, doesn't it? So, Corey is your race winner from Casper, Risky, Yuri, Red Matt, Gareth, Jordan, Kieran, Leroy, Esty Mats and Jake. They were the only finishers. Iceman, Arnoud, Pete, Connor, NK Bourne, J-Luke, Tease and Jamie and OKK. All of them failed to see the checkered flag. What a dramatic start to the playoffs. The first round is over. We have our first two drivers officially out of the championship. And where are we going next week, Jacko, to continue this madness?
Next week we have the South American swing. We begin in Brazil and we follow it up with Mexico in 2 weeks' time.
This is going to be some end to the season. We were discussing before the stream about whether this could go down as the best season ever. I said we need a few more classics. We've just got one. And we've gone straight into a short qualifying as well. Brilliant.
Yeah, which we won't be doing this one, kids.
I'm not interested in this one, to be honest.
Nah.
I think that's where we'll leave this one. Thank you all, everyone, for watching. I'm now off to watch Arsenal continue to lose. Perhaps I'll pull it back, but not happy. But thank you for watching. Hope you all enjoyed the race, and we'll be back next week for hopefully yet another classic. Safe travels, everyone.